up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is this crazy story around 38-year-old Thelma Williams. All this came out of Ohio last week. Reportedly, a masked man entered Thelma's home on Thursday morning. He cut her clothes, he tied her up in the basement of her home. The masked man then reportedly took her phone, took videos, pictures of her, posted them to her Facebook account. Those posts then caught the attention of her friends. Williams also told police the kidnapper, for some reason, called one of the contacts in her phone. That person then called 911, telling the dispatcher, quote, they hacked her old Facebook account, it is video and a picture of her, and it says that they have her and they're going to kill her. And regarding the hacked account, a quick look at her Facebook account showed that multiple posts had been made in previous days by, it looked like, someone else. On September 18th, we see, I own this account, I'll do as I please, fuck all of you, Thelma Williams will pay for her mistakes. Followed by, my name is Tony, tell little Thelma she can't hide forever. I see her when she's sleeping, I'm like Santa Claus. September 24th, do you think she'll look pretty with her inside spilled all over the basement floor? Do you know where your precious Thelma is? I do. Now luckily it appears the police were informed very quickly. Police then initiated a full response that included a helicopter search, they closed down a highway, and authorities eventually found her in her basement. She was still tied up, although loosely, her clothes were ripped, she was gagged with women's underwear. She told police the person that did this, he might have been named Tony, but she wasn't sure because he was wearing a mask. But the real kicker of the situation is that none of it actually happened. Now I don't mean the police getting involved, there being a helicopter search, them shutting down the highway. What I mean is that it turns out that nobody attacked Thelma, no one took her phone, no one gagged her, no one posted pictures of her gagged on the internet. That was all her. Police figured this out after just hours of investigation. And I'll let Sheriff Richard Jones tell the story.
There was no person named Tony. She made all of this up, and she made it up for the attention. Supposedly she's had a breakup with her boyfriend, and all these things may be true. It does not rate what she did and how she disrespected all the people that are victims.
What I find really interesting is that supposedly she had a breakup recently with a boyfriend. Like one, you can't believe anything this woman says at this point. But two, the fact that it appears that she offered up an excuse as to why she did this completely ridiculous thing. Like any excuse she could have used would have resulted in a response of, oh, well, that makes sense. And as far as what's gonna happen to little Thelma now, well, she has been arrested and she's now being charged with a 5th-degree felony for making a false report. And personally, where I land on this situation, one, I despise this woman. I hate people that make false reports. All it does is add doubt to the equation of other people's real emergencies. And secondly, I'm a little bit shocked that it got this far. And the reason for that is, other than the fact that there's nothing securing the gag but the gag staying in there, if you look at the last video she recorded and uploaded to her Facebook page, the first 2 seconds, it seems like she doesn't realize the recording has already started. And then she's like, oh shit, time to win my Oscar, and she turns it on. Also, that video looks like she's holding the phone. But I also understand the first thought in your mind when you see a potential victim isn't, I bet that person's faking their own kidnapping. Someone is that desperate for attention. But hey, Thelma, I do have good news for you. Congratulations, you are our douchebag of the day. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and Today in Awesome brought to you by Postmates. Postmates, of course, fantastic delivery on demand app. You just open up the app, you want something from a store, a restaurant, you select it, and it is delivered to your house, your business, your wherever. I was a fan of the app before, now that I am a father of 2, it is vital to my life. Another way I've also personally incorporated it into my life is if you're like halfway into a party, you realize you're low on drinks, you can just order drinks and not have to leave the party. They have a whole tab dedicated to it. And most awesome of all, if you are a new customer, click the link in the description, download the app, and then when you're in the app, use promo code PhillyD, and that will give you $100 in free delivery credit. So that way, if you try it out, you love it, you keep using it. If not, then hey, your life became a little more convenient for the time you used it, and then you go back to your old ways. And the first bit of awesome is from Nerdwriter, who did a video on why Black Mirror is so dark. And by the way, I only recommend you actually watch that video if you are a fan of Black Mirror, you've watched through the 3 seasons, the Christmas special. Certain things will be spoiled for you, but good news, if you have not watched it yet, I highly recommend you watch Black Mirror. It's all on Netflix right now. Also, a thing to note here is there are good episodes in season 1, season 2, but if you hit stuff you do not like, do not worry. The 3rd season, in my opinion, is just on a whole different level. They're all good, it's just different levels of good. Then we got the final US trailer for Blade Runner 2049. Or if you want to jump back in time, the Screen Junkies put out a new honest trailer on Blade Runner. We also got a trailer for a movie that I had not heard of until this point, and it's called Babysitter. It's a Netflix movie. In the beginning, it appears to be like a boy coming of age story. Then it is anything but.
Oh my God, he shot me in the boob. What kind of dick shoots a girl in the boob?
Why is he shirtless? That's your first question?
It's also got the likes of Bella Thorne, King Batch, which, by the way, it's great to see him and stuff. I feel like he's one of those guys that did spring up on the internet, but legitimately is talented and should be in more stuff. And remember, if you want to see the full versions of everything, I just shared the secret link of the day, anything at all. Links, as always, are in the description down below. And then let's talk about President Trump and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. There's a lot of he said, she said, denial going around this morning, so let's talk about it. So this situation starts with an article that went out on NBC News this morning. It's an article titled, "Tillerson's Fury at Trump Required an Intervention from Pence." It reads, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was on the verge of resigning this past summer amid mounting policy disputes and clashes with the White House. This according to senior administration officials who were aware of the situation at the time. It continues, the tensions came to a head around the time President Donald Trump delivered a politicized speech in late July to the Boy Scouts of America, an organization Tillerson once led, the official said. Just days earlier, Tillerson had openly disparaged the president, referring to him as a moron after a July 20th meeting at the Pentagon with members of Trump's national security team and cabinet officials. This according to 3 officials familiar with the incident. Officials also reportedly said that Vice President Mike Pence counseled Tillerson, this reportedly on ways to ease tensions with Trump, and other top administration officials urged him to remain in the job at least until the end of the year. Next thing we know, it's being reported that Rex Tillerson is going to give an unscheduled statement to the media. And so at that point, it was pretty safe to assume one of 2 things was going to happen. One, we were either going to see Rex Tillerson resign or he was going to deny this. And what we ended up seeing was a denial and then what appeared to be a dodge. Regarding the reports that Pence had to talk to him to stay on, he said,
"To address a few specifics that have been erroneously reported this morning. The Vice President has never had to persuade me to remain as Secretary of State because I have never considered leaving this post."
But in those prepared remarks, he didn't say anything about the claims that he called the president a moron. And that's why after Tillerson was done with those prepared remarks, the first question was like, is that all?
Is that the only thing that you consider to be erroneous in that article?
I think it's the most important element of the article is to reaffirm my commitment to this role that President Trump's asked me to serve, and to dispel with this notion that I have ever considered leaving. I have answered that question repeatedly. For some reason, it continues to be misreported. There's never been a consideration in my mind to leave. I serve at the appointment of the President, and I'm here for as long as the President feels I can be useful to achieving his objectives.
Then there's another question, and then someone finally just directly asks him.
Could you address the main headline of this story that you called the President a moron, and if not, where do you think these reports or
I'm not going to deal with petty stuff like that. I mean, this is what I don't understand about Washington. Again, I'm not from this place, but the places I come from, we don't deal with that kind of petty nonsense.
And I have to just say, personally, my opinion is that seems like a very odd response. It feels kind of like you were told that your girlfriend was looking for another apartment, she was cheating on you, and then you're in a conversation, you're putting the heat on her as far as this new apartment, and she's like, you know what, there's no new apartment. I don't know why you keep asking me about this apartment, it's so stupid. Let me go on the record saying 100% I have never looked for, nor do I have an apartment. And then you're like, okay, but what about the cheating? Are you cheating on me? And then that person's response is, I won't even answer a petty question. I'm just saying, it sounds like Rex Tillerson thinks both of these claims are very ridiculous, but he only really spoke on one. Obviously, people are gonna have their own takeaways from this, but personally, that's mine. And understand, I'm saying this as someone that would actually like to see Tillerson remain in this post. When it comes to situations like with North Korea, he seems to be the voice from the Trump administration that is a voice of calm. This despite the president publicly undercutting his attempts to work something out on Twitter. And as far as why Rex Tillerson had this press conference, I think he realizes who he works for. Whether he actually said it or not, perception is reality. I think that he knows that Donald Trump would have seen this in the news and it would have soured their relationship. So despite it initially being a small story and then becoming bigger because he had a press conference around it, really the only audience that mattered was Donald Trump. That's who Rex Tillerson was talking to. That's who those cameras were for. And it appears that it worked and he is safe in the eyes of Trump. Today on that Tillerson report, he said, quote, "It was made up by NBC," adding, "I have total confidence in Rex." And also the reaction from this online has been very interesting from both the left and the right, because there are a lot of people that can't tell if he's their guy. Do you believe the narrative that this is all fake news, that Rex Tillerson is 100% one of the most loyal guys ever? Or no, do you think that he actually did openly call the president a moron? He doesn't believe in the president. We've seen Tillerson separate himself from the president's comments. When talking about Charlottesville, he said the president speaks for himself. And so what we're seeing here is him just trying to save himself in this position so he can continue to try and do the work that he wants to do. And as far as the truth of the matter, who knows? Everyone believes they think the real thing. 90% of people's reality is just perception, and so Rex is trying to control the perception. But I will also pass the question question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Where do you personally land on this? And then let's talk about some key updates around the Las Vegas mass shooting. The first focal point being 62-year-old Mary Lou Danley, whose image you've most likely seen plastered all over the news. At first, it was unclear who she was, how she was connected to the shooter. At one point, people thought it was her ex-husband who was the shooter. But eventually it came out that she was living with and was dating the actual shooter. Police consider her possibly connected to the shooting at first. She and the shooter were dating, they were living together. The shooter used her player's card at the Mandalay Bay. And while police quickly determined that she was not directly involved, she did remain a person of interest. And so here's what we know about this person of interest. She reportedly first met the shooter in Reno, Nevada. She's an Australian-Philippine citizen with legal residence in the United States. We know that she was not an active participant in the shooting because she was out of the country at the time. That by itself raised red flags for a lot of people. Many saying it's odd that she just happened to be out of the country during the time of the shooting. But also that said, she didn't leave just before the shooting. She had actually been out of the country since September 15th. And as far as why Mary Lou was traveling in the first place, her sisters spoke to the news and they said,
she didn't even know that she's going to the Philippines until said, oh, Mary Lou, I found you a cheap ticket to the Philippines.
There were also people raising red flags around money the gunman sent before the shooting. Reportedly, the gunman sent $100,000 to the Philippines into an account that turned out to be Mary Lou's. But also, as of right now, it is unclear if Mary Lou knew she was getting that money. And on this topic, the gunman's brother went on this very odd rant about the money.
Someone said that that transferred $100,000. Woo, $100,000. We're wealthy people. $100,000 isn't that much money, A, and I'm sorry if that hurts people or something, but $100,000 isn't that huge amount of money. He gambled that much through a machine in hours. I mean, once again, you need to understand. That's what people need to understand, the level where some people live. I guess everybody thinks that everybody works at Taco Bell or something. Everybody doesn't work at Taco Bell. There's wealthy people who do this. If you're going to condemn for being a high-stakes gambler.
I want to say this on behalf of a lot of people, you fuckface. No one's condemning your brother because he was a gambler. They are condemning him because he's a fucking murderer. The fact that this is your reaction to people asking legitimate questions, trying to find out why your brother decided to murder and maim so many people, tells us all a lot. There was also the question of how could Mary Lou not know what was happening? The shooter's brother had previously said that he wasn't a gun guy. But in addition to the 23 weapons they found in the hotel room, at the shooter's home they said they found an additional 19 firearms, tannerite, 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Ammonium nitrate was found in his car, and so the question becomes, how did Mary Lou not notice? Did he have this somewhere else, and then he sent her off, and then he brought everything to the home? Or did she know? These are the questions people are asking. Additionally, we learned that the shooter set up cameras in and around the hotel rooms he rented, some reportedly looking through the peepholes of his room. There was another one that was found in the hallway outside of his room. Sheriff Lombardo is saying, I anticipate he was looking for anybody coming to take him into custody. The fact that he had the type of weaponry and the amount of weaponry in that room, it was pre-planned extensively, and I'm pretty sure he evaluated everything that he did and his actions, which is troublesome. Photos have also leaked from inside of the hotel room. You see weapons, ammunitions, people have been zooming in on photos saying they think they see a note. And of course, more information is still coming in, and there are so many unanswered questions. Now, potentially we will get some from Mary Lou. She is now back in the United States. She landed in LAX last night. She was escorted by the FBI for questioning. We still do not know the motive. We don't know why he decided to fire into this crowd for around 9 minutes and then just stop. Now that we have the information about the cameras, we could hypothesize it's because he realized that people were closing in on his room. But still, there appears to be some time that's not accounted for. Around 10:20, 10:21 p.m., police officers realize that there's no more shooting. At 10:24, we get reports that security and SWAT are closing in on the door. The shooter then fires through. So it appears that the shooting may have stopped because police did find him. He realized that if he opened fire again, they would just burst through. At 11:20 p.m., police were heard blasting through the door. And then it's not until 11:58 p.m. that police report that the shooter is down. And also, hopefully, that clears up some of the confusion around the timeline. I saw some people online saying, really, we're praising the police because they found the shooter after an hour? No, the timeline is first reports of shots fired at 10:08. They close in on the room at 10:24. That's 16 minutes from shots fired, we don't know where they're coming from, to being outside the door and engaging with that suspect. And I really have to say, if you are talking shit about the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, all the people that put their lives on the line in this horrible situation, you can go fuck yourself armchair quarterbacking a reaction to a terrorist attack. But that's where I'm going to end this one. Of course, this is the Philip DeFranco Show. It's the news, it's my opinion, and then I want to hear from you. So let me know your thoughts on this last story, the first one, anything in between in those comments down below. And remember, if you like this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the new daily videos. Also, if you missed yesterday's show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you need something lighthearted, you can watch today's brand new behind the scenes vlog. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.